The Diamond Sutra, also known as the Diamond Prajnaparamita Sutra, is one of the most significant scriptures in the Buddhist tradition, held in high regard throughout history. Not only is it viewed as a core teaching in certain forms of meditation practice, but its clear, incisive insights have guided countless practitioners in seeking liberation and wisdom. In the history of many lands influenced by Buddhism, from the sixth patriarch Huineng of the Tang dynasty to elder master Shuyun, in modern times many respected monks have regarded the Diamond Sutra as a treasure containing profound truths that illuminate the entirety of spiritual teachings. Yet the impact of the Diamond Sutra is not confined to religious circles. Its wisdom proves strikingly practical in everyday life. This text emphasizes letting go of attachments and staying clear-minded amid complexity. No matter the era, these teachings have helped people find direction in confusion and reshape themselves, like a bright lamp in the darkness. Over time, numerous stories have circulated about the Diamond Sutra's remarkable power to avert disaster and bring blessings when read with sincere devotion. A Buddhist reference known as the Court of Many Miracles recounts various instances of communities turning to the Diamond Sutra in times of crisis, hoping to gain merit and avert misfortune. Among those stories is one that not only reveals the sacred power of this teaching, but also shows that true blessings arise from heartfelt cultivation and awakened wisdom. During the Tang dynasty's Zhenguan era, there lived a young merchant named Wang Mingyuan in the city of Chang'an. He was born into a once prominent family but fell on hard times, so he made a living by selling small goods, traveling endlessly in and out of the city, enduring the elements day after day. One evening, after concluding a deal in a distant town, he hurried back toward Chang'an. As he crossed a barren stretch of land, storm clouds gathered and torrential rain poured down with no shelter in sight. In his desperation, he noticed an old run-down temple off the side of the road. Though the temple was in disrepair, it still offered better cover than staying out in the open storm. Stumbling through the rain, he pushed open the creaking wooden door and was startled by what he saw. Inside, the courtyard was overgrown with weeds, and the main hall's roof was damaged, letting rainwater drip onto the ground with a steady rhythm. Yet in that bleak atmosphere, a single lamp flickered softly. Under its glow sat a white-haired monk, eyes closed, quietly chanting from a worn-looking scripture. He seemed completely unmoved by the raging storm outside. "Come in out of the rain," the old monk said gently, without even looking up. Something in his calm voice put Wang Mingyuan at ease. Stepping carefully inside, Wang Mingyuan removed his soaked coat and bowed in gratitude. His attention was drawn to the old scripture in the monk's hands. Its yellowed cover was frayed at the corners, but gave off a mysterious glow. "Master, what scripture is that?" Wang Mingyuan couldn't help asking. "It's the Diamond Sutra," the old monk replied, raising his gaze. There was kindness and depth in his eyes. "It's a teaching on wisdom. Have you heard of it?" Wang Mingyuan nodded, then shook his head. He had certainly heard the name before, but had never really understood its contents. The old monk smiled and said, "The Diamond Sutra teaches us to let go of attachments, see through illusions, and find clarity even in the fog of life. Especially in troubled times, it helps us stay steady and grounded." Although Wang Mingyuan only half understood, the monk's words gave him a curious sense of calm. He spent the night there, lulled to sleep by the sound of the monks chanting, feeling as though the entire world was blanketed in a gentle peace. At dawn, Wang Mingyuan woke to discover that the old monk was nowhere to be found. Yet there, on a small table in front of a statue, lay the well-worn copy of the Diamond Sutra. Carefully picking it up, he sensed it might be more than a random coincidence. Back home, Wang Mingyuan started reciting the Diamond Sutra each day. In the beginning, the profound teachings seemed like a foreign language to him, but he persisted, believing that fate had brought him to this text and he should earnestly seek its meaning. As days passed, he noticed subtle changes in his mindset. He no longer worried about trivial matters, and he stayed calm when dealing with difficult customers. He realized that many of his troubles sprang from his own attachments. Recalling the old monk's advice about releasing fixations, he tried not to obsess over gains or losses, instead focusing on each task at hand. This shift made him feel lighter, and it also transformed how others perceived him. A few months later, an important business opportunity arose. A large shipment of top-quality silk had arrived from the south at a bargain price. But to purchase the entire lot, Wang Mingyuan needed a considerable sum. On one hand, he saw this could be his big chance. On the other, he feared the debt he'd incur if it all went wrong. Struggling with indecision, he picked up the Diamond Sutra and came across the line suggesting that one should act without clinging to any fixed outcome. It was as though a door opened in his mind. If worrying about failure wouldn't change the future, why not let go of the anxiety and give it his best shot? With that attitude, Wang Mingyuan borrowed the necessary funds to buy the silk. Not only did he earn a substantial profit, but his honesty and savvy also drew attention from some influential business figures. From that point on, his ventures picked up momentum, customers poured in, and people throughout Chang'an praised him as a merchant of great integrity. Still, every morning and evening, Wang Mingyuan kept up his practice of reciting the Diamond Sutra. He never felt his successes were solely his own doing. Rather, he saw the sutra's wisdom as a guiding light in his life. Before long, Chang'an was hit by a severe drought. The crops failed, and many families ran out of food. Moved by the sight of hungry children on the streets, Wang Mingyuan opened his granary and offered grain at very low prices, or even for free to those in dire need. Some asked, "Aren't you worried about losses?" He simply smiled. "Worldly wealth is fleeting," he answered. "Only compassion endures. The Diamond Sutra teaches me not to cling to profit. If I can help people through this hardship, what's a little financial loss?" His generosity provided relief to many impoverished households and also spread his reputation far and wide. Within a few years, Wang Mingyuan became one of the best-known merchants in Chang'an. His storerooms were well-stocked, business was thriving, and customers came from everywhere. Yet despite his growing prosperity, he stayed humble, never skipping his daily Diamond Sutra recitation. As he would say, "This scripture taught me to be free from attachment and unafraid of adversity. Real wealth isn't gold or silver, but the peace and wisdom within." One day, a sudden fire broke out in the city, flames raging and smoke billowing. Strong winds fanned the blaze, and terrified residents fled their homes. The fire quickly approached Wang Mingyuan's shop. His workers hurried to salvage the merchandise, only to see him calmly reciting the Diamond Sutra inside, showing no sign of panic. "Boss, the fire is nearly here. How can you stay so calm?" they pleaded. Wang Mingyuan looked up with a gentle smile. "This fire is beyond our human control. Let us keep our hearts steady and pray for a good outcome." He then closed his eyes and kept chanting. Amazingly, when the flames reached his store, the wind shifted direction, and the fire passed by without touching his property. When it was all over, the surrounding area lay in ruins, yet his building stood intact. News of this miracle spread fast, and everyone said Wang Mingyuan had received the protection of spiritual power. Sometime later, Wang Mingyuan dreamed of that same elderly monk. "Do you know why you encountered the Diamond Sutra that night?" the monk asked. "Everything follows the right season and conditions. Now another special time has arrived." The next day, Wang Mingyuan opened his sutra and came upon these words. "If someone were to offer treasures to fill countless worlds, it would not compare to sharing even a few lines of this sutra with others, thus bringing them immeasurable benefit." Instantly, he was brought back to that rainy evening and could almost hear the old monk's voice echoing in his mind. Unable to sleep, he lit a small lamp and reread the Diamond Sutra. To his surprise, it seemed that the text itself was shining faintly, reminding him of that single lamp in the rundown temple and the old monk chanting softly in the gloom. At dawn, he decided to revisit that place. Years had passed, and the temple had been renovated and was now bustling with worshippers. In the main hall, he met a young monk sweeping the floor. "Do you know the story behind this temple?" Wang Mingyuan asked. Pausing with the broom, the monk replied, "They say a great elder once lived here, never taking disciples or concerning himself with worldly affairs. He simply chanted the Diamond Sutra each day. Then one stormy night, a traveling merchant came here and was inspired by him. Over time, that merchant achieved great success and later funded the temple's restoration." Wang Mingyuan felt a stir in his heart, realizing that his own story had become legend, but he had never shared the details of that night with anyone. He recalled the old monk's words, When the right time and conditions align, blessings follow. At last he understood the deeper meaning. In Buddhist teachings, every year carries its own subtle importance. Certain periods are especially potent for reciting scripture, much like how crops must be planted in the right season to flourish. According to the great Prajna Sutra, at special times one can receive tenfold, hundredfold, even thousandfold blessings for reciting prana texts. The first month of the year, 2025, is precisely such a period, shaped by a rare harmony of heavenly timing, earthly conditions, and human goodwill. From a cosmic standpoint, the interactions of celestial bodies create a uniquely favorable configuration. From the earthly side, new growth and renewal make it an ideal season for spiritual practice. And from the human side, people are inclined to join in acts of collective compassion, forming a powerful field of positive energy. All of Wang Mingyuan's extraordinary experiences occurred because he seized the right moment in his life. Now in that special month of 2025, another window of great opportunity arises. This is about more than avoiding misfortune. By chanting scripture, we purify our hearts, triggering an inner transformation. One of the Diamond Sutra's core teachings is, arouse the mind without clinging to anything. True change begins in the mind, not in external circumstances. Just then, a gentle breeze passed through the temple courtyard, and Wang Mingyuan thought he could hear the distant sound of chanting, the same voice he had heard on that stormy night long ago. Following the sound, he arrived in a small garden where an ancient Bodhi tree grew beside a worn stone bench, as though someone had often meditated there. "This tree looks centuries old," he remarked. The young monk nodded. "So I've heard. The elders say the great monk himself planted it, and he would sit on that stone reciting the Diamond Sutra. On certain auspicious days, this tree glows with a special light." Wang Mingyuan placed his hand on the tree's rugged bark. The old monk's words echoed in his mind. When the time and conditions align, blessings follow. Suddenly, he saw more clearly than ever. Reciting scripture isn't about worldly benefits, but about cleansing one's own spirit. When our hearts awaken, we naturally draw positive outcomes into our lives. That is the real secret of the Diamond Sutra's transformative power, and the reason devout practitioners throughout history have paid special attention to reciting it at favorable times. They recognize that taking advantage of auspicious moments doubles the results of spiritual practice. A passage in the Avatamsaka Sutra mentions that all bodhisattvas wish to perfect their blessings by uniting them with the insight of prajna. This reminds us how essential it is to seize auspicious occasions in spiritual cultivation. The first month of 2025 is one such precious moment, a rare opportunity to recite the Diamond Sutra and not only absorb its profound wisdom, but spark real inner transformation. Like the ancient Bodhi tree that shines with a mysterious light at the right time, every one of us carries the seed of enlightenment inside. With consistent care and attention, it too can burst forth in radiant wisdom. And the Diamond Sutra is the perfect source of nourishment for that hidden seed.